Now he is the Minister of Finance. He's an individual that certainly gave us great leadership in an extremely difficult time in North America and around the world. While there was a global meltdown, we had steady hands at the rudder, helping us with our budget, and he's our Minister of Finance. I know he's an individual that doesn't want me to do a long speech, so I'm going to keep it short because I think he's the kind of individual that wants to get down to brass tacks so that we can answer your questions. So, Dwight, you have the floor.
Linda, thank you, and Kuldeep and Vic, thanks for joining me. I think I'd rather dispense with the speech and kind of leave it to you to start asking me questions about what issues are on your mind, on the minds of the people who read your dailies, watch your shows, listen to your shows, and try to have a more candid exchange. And that way we can focus on what's important to you. I mean, obviously this past week was the first week of the campaign. A lot of focus on jobs and the economy. And we obviously believe very strongly that the plan we've put out is the best plan. It's the best costed plan, and probably going to result in still further job creation in the coming weeks, months, and years. So I don't know if one of you would like to start with asking a question, and then we'll just engage in a dialogue, and I'll try to speak a little bit slowly so you can record it and get notes, and we'll make sure that we try to spend all of our time in a good exchange. I may turn from time to time to my local colleagues to give some local flavor to it, because we're very proud of the fact, by the way, that our caucus is so diverse. You have people like Kuldeep and Vic, and people like myself and Linda, and that's one of the things that we're so proud of in our caucus and in our party. It's diversity. And so with that, I'll start with you. It's Ajit?
Yes, that's my name, sir. I work for India Abroad. This is the first time it has come, unless I missed it earlier. The emphasis is being laid in this first release that 10,000 tax rebate for employers to hire new Canadians is applicable only to Canadian citizens. So far it was that this program is applicable and the benefit goes to the employer who hires new Canadians who have been in the country for less than 5 years. Here I see new Canadian citizens. This has been added today, or was this the intention from the beginning? Because I don't see that in the program.
It was always, my understanding was the intention was always it was for new Canadian citizens. It's a relatively, it's a relatively modest tax credit. We've estimated right from the beginning that it would probably only affect about 1,200 across the province, and it's designed. And if you look at the original releases, it's designed to give new citizens the opportunity to gain experience to get into the workforce here in Canada, because we all have heard the stories, we know the stories, and so we're very proud of this, and it's all about new citizens who have a skill set. We reference doctors and accountants and others to get the experience they need to have a better facilitation into the workforce. It builds on a range of other programs and services we have for non-citizens as well, everything from English as a second language programs through to a variety of skilled training programs that are open to people, whether they're new citizens or landed immigrants. But this is always, the intention has always been very specific. And yeah, sure, absolutely. And it's, again, a very modest number of people across the province. Linda?
So I did the announcement this morning with Greg Cervera, and it builds on very similar programs to what is in other provinces. Nova Scotia has this, Quebec has it, and Saskatchewan. And at the end of the day, this is, as White indicated, it builds on other programs that we have, because we have an apprenticeship tax credit. We have a new guaranteed job for our nurses. We have a summer job program. It's part of a range of issues, second career, that we do. So the second career was something that started as a very small program, but because the uptake was so high, we actually expanded the program, I think, about 3 times. So this is where we're going to start with this, because at the end of the day, we've discovered that there's a hurdle that our new highly professional engineers, accountants, architects are all hitting that hurdle of you want to get a Canadian job, you need Canadian experience. How do you get Canadian experience? You need a Canadian job. So it's a paradox. You're stuck that you can't get that. So we've discovered that these people are falling through the cracks, so that's why we announced the program. There was some detail in the platform. This is more detail. This is what we'll be doing over the course of the platform, which is what Dwight is here to talk about.
The question, Minister, is being asked not from the point of view that I am taking exception to the initiative that the government has taken, but the fact that you are leaving a large number of landed immigrants, professionally qualified, because of which they get a visa to come here. You are leaving them out, and in 5 years, less than 5 years of a new person being here, fewer number of them qualify actually to become citizens, you see. It is from that point of view I'm asking this question.
Well, and that was part of my answer. We do have a range of other programs and services that serve landed immigrants, and we do have some success already integrating professionals into the workforce without this particular program. But as Linda said, this builds on the suite of services we have available. It replicates programs in other provinces, but we've done a range of other things on the whole issue of professional accreditation and so on that apply to all new Canadians, whether they're citizens yet or landed immigrants. And so this is another in a suite of programs we have. Linda referenced Second Career. That was brand new in 2008. It was in my 2008 budget. And what we discovered at the time, and it was actually the Premier. I can tell you the story what happened. He was in Oshawa at an unemployed help center meeting with a group of auto workers who had lost their jobs. And the notion of older workers who lose their jobs, or even younger workers, and the training programs that were currently available didn't give them the opportunity to go back to school full time and still provide for their families. So that was the germination of Second Career, and we wound up, as Linda said, we created a program that gave up to $28,000. So for the first time, a worker who was laid off could literally go back to school for up to 2 years. Many of them did, and it was an enhancement to what was already existing. So what we have targeted with this particular undertaking is those new citizens who have professional skills as defined, but there are already a number of services that are fully available to landed immigrants, and we also have worked with the various governing boards and colleges of the professions to help facilitate entrance. So this builds on a range of other things we have, and inevitably that's what happens with these, is that we discover there's a weakness, there's something missing, our programs aren't getting the target population. Linda was quite right. Linda pointed out with Second Career, we completely underestimated the number of people that would access it, so we've had to increase. I think we went from 20,000 to a total of 36,000. Yeah. Interestingly, now we've got almost 3 years of it under our belt, and 60% of the people who complete the Second Career program, and by the way, many of them are new Canadians as well, 60% of them find full-time employment in their educated field within, I think, 3 months of graduation, completion of the program. So this particular program is simply adding to a whole suite of other programs, and it's designed, again, to target a very small audience of new citizens with certain skill sets that are not able to break that cycle. In addition to having the professional qualifications, they also need to get domestic or Canadian work experience before they can get work, and that's what that is designed to address. So, yes, I'm sorry.
This term, new Canadian citizens, because before, as he rightly pointed out, the understanding was that it is new Canadians, not Canadian citizens. When a landed immigrant comes to this country, he or she, their family take about 5 to 6 years, depending on the backlog, to become citizens. So they have some experience, Canadian experience. So basically, all your party is interested at right now. What the promises you are making is just, it's all talk about voters, because citizens become voters. When they are not citizens, they are not voters. So you don't care about them. That's what the notion is here.
No, I think this, again, this is This is a new program that builds on a range of other programs that we have that are open to all citizens, but also to landed immigrants. So, and we have everything from English as a second language programs up through a whole suite of other programs and services that are fully available to landed immigrants as well. I think we're the one party that does care about landed immigrants, and we're the one party that celebrates our diversity. I've been quite candidly a bit horrified by some of the language that Mr. Hudak's been using. As the grandchild of immigrants, my grandparents came here when the wave of immigration was Irish, and back in the early 1920s, and they struggled, as do new immigrants today. It's we're getting immigrants from a different part of the world than they were back then, but we've had different waves of immigration. And I believe the Ontario experience is one of welcoming and tolerance. That's not always the case. There are elements in our society that aren't. And we're trying to continue to build a tolerant, inclusive society where the finance minister can meet with a group of people representing a very specific population on top of the programs that we already have for people who are new Canadians, whether citizens or landed immigrants at this stage of their journey. And so this is very much about one small aspect of new Canadians. And in our view of the world, our view of this province and country, new Canadians include everybody, including recent landed immigrants. And so the services that we're providing across a range, we think are good. So this is very much about building on that.
So the question is now about the Peel Memorial Hospital. The picture was taken in the last election where we had the $95 million announcement, and then just recently when Mr. Clark, Rick Dillon, and Linda Jeffrey tried to announce it, then other candidates from PC party, they opposed it. But when we read your platform, it doesn't say specifically about this Peel Region hospitals or Peel Memorial Hospital. Same thing with the Willie Mosler Health Centers, the Etobicoke General Hospital. Dr. Shafiq, he announced that it's going to be doubled very soon. He drew some line there on the field there. He said he made big lines there. He put a pylons there that this is going to be the main entrance, this is where it's going to be this room, this is where it's going to be this room. But when we asked him what's the budget for it, what's the plan for it, when it's going to be built, when they're going to start, when they're going to finish, he had no answer for that. So it's just announcements, or it's just a photo opportunities again. What's going on? Are we going to see some action there in reality?
Well, you're already seeing action, and let me take you through that a little bit. There are currently some 48 hospital projects at various stages of development in Ontario right now. I remind you that the previous Conservative government closed 39 hospitals. The way hospital budgets work, it's not in the platform. You won't find any specific undertakings in the platform about building this school or that hospital. The platform speaks to the larger policy issues. Where you'll find it is in our 3-year infrastructure plan called Building Together. It is now built into the estimates and the budget of the province of Ontario, so the money is already set aside.